CREWCast. 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 Give it up for the CREWCast!
Well, we hope you enjoyed the podcast. And
Welcome back to the CREWCast. And as promised, it is making a welcome return in a brand new environment. And we definitely haven't just recorded 20 minutes of footage that absolutely just crashed out and bailed on us.
so I literally just said the whole reason why, we've been a little bit like this is because it gets draining when you record content and then it doesn't save.
And literally the camera was like, hold my memory card.
We've just done about half an hour talking, that hasn't saved. So we're back here again.
We're back. Well, let's dial it in for you guys. Where have we been and why has it been so long? Right, here we go. You ready? Repeat process.
Oh.
Lex took a break. Lex took a life break. I've had a lot going on family-wise, and it's new to me. I'm a new dad, and I've gone from being a bachelor to a family guy with three adolescents and a missus who all require attention, and there's a full learning curve of coming into being a parent and all of that jazz. And it turns out, when you've got a special brain and you've lived alone and had your own routines for a while, that when you become a family guy, you kind of fall apart at the seams.
So he's now Peter Griffin. The reason why we haven't is been fighting a chicken for the past 4 months.
Been what?
Fighting a chicken.
Thank
Oh, you watch Family Guy, yeah? Okay.
that yes, epic.
Like, just put, where have you been lately? And then just show the picture you fighting a chicken.
Yes, that's what I'll do. That's what I'm going to do in the vlog. But we are back. And
Where have you been the past year? Well, did you find his chicken saying, basically, I won.
I'm 100%.
I won the battle, but we're back now.
Oh, fuck.
It's so random. Like, we just watched Peter Griffin on Family Guy fight a chicken for 5 minutes and he's just back.
Yeah, no, it just cuts to normality.
So like,
and
what can we create content? I don't know. Let's fight a chicken.
It's a little bit like what's happened. We are getting back to normality. I have gone through some therapeutic times. Mitchell has been a huge help during this as well. We've been through some spiritual progression. I haven't booked in yet, but I am going to start seeing a lady who is very good at helping people when they're running their own businesses and struggling with a lot of stresses. And I needed help. I needed to reach out, and I didn't do it. And I ended up burning myself out. And it was the point where I got pneumonia and everything was going to shit. And it was at the time I was trying to get everything back on track. And it was stupid because it was never going to happen because I was sick and burnt out and struggling with dealing with having a neurodivergent brain. And I'm not being fashionable about that. I'm going to go into it in the vlog, but I've been diagnosed only last year with it. And, I'd coped on my own for very long, but then when there was too much stimulus coming from all angles, I just got overwhelmed and, it fell apart. And I mean, I hit a real low, didn't I? Really, really low. And as good as I am at battling things and as strong as I am, sometimes you just need to reach out and get help. And I took too long to do that. And now I've done it. Things are back on track. I feel like I have a structure. I feel like I have a goal set and I've got support around me again.
It's one of those things where, this is what a lot of men need to listen to as well, is basically this, never on YouTube you get these videos that are no days off, keep going, I've just got hit by a car but I'm still going gym. That type of mindset. But that it takes you so far, but realistically, you have to listen to your body, and your body is the biggest signal of what is going on within. So, for example, here's one for me. I tore my quad, and then I blew a disc in my back. Then I got a chest infection. Then I got shoulder impingement in 1 year. And it taught me so much about surrender, and that sometimes means walking away and having a breather for yourself and collect yourself and actually nurture yourself. So Lex was going for the same lesson I think a lot of people did last year, where basically life was trying to get you to wake up and say, listen, not this way, not the old way, doesn't work anymore. You've got to start finding balance and nurturing yourself. So that's when you have to do the right thing and go, actually, you know what, I need to pause and stop giving and give to myself for a little bit. And then when you fill yourself back up, you actually feel like you can do this stuff. So when you start to lose passion and creativity and all this stuff, you have to ask yourself, that's because I'm probably burning out and I need to actually take some time for me to fill up. And that's when you have to withdraw and surrender. But as much as you want to do something, you have to ask yourself, what do I need to do? And that need is hard because sometimes your ego is like, I want to go and do this, I need to go and do this, like you said.
And the pressure of life and providing and being the man.
So when you say I get locked in, I just can't stop, I have to get something done, yeah?
Yeah.
That's your want, but your need is I'm actually shattered. I need to have a breather, and that's what Lex was doing. Basically he tried to go back and forth, and eventually he started to find a bit of balance in his life. Balance meaning being kind to self and actually having some time to himself and his family,
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z.
Because when things would go wrong, it would be because I hadn't set enough time aside, because obviously all the outer stimuluses were there, and I was fixing problems left, right, and centre with like relationships through the family, or everyday life stuff, cars, schooling, all these things going on, and I was the fixer, and that was all coming at the forefront, and all the stuff I had to do kept building up behind me. Then, so when I went to do that, there was this stress to fucking get it done. And then something would happen, like the technical issue we just had then, and that would be it, man. That would just like crush me. I'd be in there till 3 a.m., but not really achieving anything, because I'd be trying to do 8 different things at once, not finishing any of them. And so you end up just getting backed up. And like you said, you get consumed with this need to finish that one thing you've got in front of you right now.
These are some good sweeties,
Oh yeah, so interlude. We have been set up with our new little pod area by my missus, who's lovingly given us a bottle of water. I have some sour worms, and Mitchell has some tropical sweeties, because
Would you like
all
a
men
sweetie?
essentially are giant children.
A Smarties.
And
A
this-
Smarties
This
indeed.
genuinely made us happy. And it's little things like this, these little supports, little things that say, go do the thing you love. That's what you need. And I wasn't getting that, because I was being a moody dude with everyone around me. So why is everyone going to want to help the moody guy all the time?
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to want to stay out your way, and that destroys your relationships. And you end up feeling like the bad guy. You also end up feeling isolated, and that's the biggest thing, is the isolated feeling. And people seem to think like YouTubing and all these things, they seem like a dream job. And don't get me wrong, in many ways they are incredible. But there's also a lot of isolated stress that you deal with, especially when you're running everything on your own. And there's nobody there to like pick you up when stuff goes wrong, because you're the only guy around you who is dealing with this kind of life and this lifestyle. So as much as your friends can help like boost you by like the boys that come and take me out on bike rides, and I felt amazing when I came back from those. But if I could be as elevated as you could ever want to be, but if I step back into office and that technical issue hits me straight away in the face within half an hour, or that same problem that I sit down to that that I was still holding on to was there, I'd go straight back into that cycle of like manic fear that this thing's going to fail, and oh, fucking I can't do this. And it was just like imposter syndrome versus the lack of understanding that it doesn't fucking matter.
Yes.
Right? Nothing actually matters.
Yeah.
Everything that you do and accomplish is a benefit and a bonus, right? And yes, we can't just say that because we don't live in a hippie commune in a forest or whatever. But essentially, it's not that you give up and say nothing matters. It's the fact that if you start this belief of it doesn't matter, it allows you to step back, and it allows you to detach.
Yep.
And then you relax, and then you are way more capable of following through with things.
Yeah, perfect. So, like, if you look as well, the reason why we get stressed as well, because we think there's a time scale.
Yeah.
And there's no rush. So when you actually have a problem in your life, you sit there and you think, like, for example, it's great for the gym. I took this one on board. What's the rush to progress? Okay, take your time and you actually make more progression doing that. So, for example, you haven't, like, let's say you're doing strength training and you're benching 100 kilos and you want to get to 120 kilos. What is the rush? Just take your time and it will get there. Okay, if you do it right and follow the guidance. But it's like you said, it's that detachment. Because look at this, yeah, you've got 1,000 problems in the world until you have a health problem, like me and Lex did. Okay, and then that's it. They all disappear, and you're like, you know what? They're not even problems anymore. I want to get better. That, like, for example, your lungs, okay?
Dude, yeah, so it turned out that I was running on 40% lung capacity. When I went in after 10 weeks of stuff, like, the problem is because we, like you said, and you can touch back on this because I think it was in the failed recording that we just had, is the, grind every day, doesn't matter, no sleep when you're dead kind of attitude. Like, that is a stupid way to be long term. You can do that in short bursts when you need it, and it's great to have that, but that's what I was doing but I also didn't realize I got multiple sicknesses at once because there was that quademic nonsense thing going around.
Oh, yeah.
And so what happened is I'd got a lung infection, but didn't realize it because at the same time I'd got another sickness because we have the new kiddie, and obviously she's like a petri dish. She could literally go out to a plaything, come back, and she'll be sick the next day, guaranteed every single time, because she's bringing in new stuff on because her immune system's still developing. So essentially, you will be exposed to way more than you're used to. And even with a great immune system, because I was compromised with whatever I'd had on the lungs, that dropped my immune system. So then the little other bug that got me on top would like knock me down, and then I'd beat that little bug and think that was it. But then I still felt like shit. But I thought I was just being a little bitch. So I kept pushing through. And then there was like that 3 sicknesses in a row that everyone got. And I got rid of all those and still felt like shit. But in the meantime, the lung thing got worse. So 8 weeks down the line, I'm struggling. I'm actually feeling like death. And the reason was, by the time I went in, they monitored all my lungs. I had fluid across all throughout my entire right lung, up onto my chest, and it was just going over onto my left lung. And she's like, it's no wonder you feel like shit. She said, you should have been in here 8 weeks ago for a strong antibiotics, and you're basically have created sleep apnea. So I was, because Mrs. was saying, when you were asleep, you sound like you're gonna die. I was going like this asleep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, really bad. She was like, you've never been like that. You snore sometimes, but this was like death. So it turns out I was not actually able to breathe properly, which meant I wasn't sleeping properly. So I was essentially not getting any real recovery or rest for 8 to 10 weeks. So it's no wonder my mood was low. My hormones were probably fucked. I had zero energy. It was the worst I've ever felt in my life. And the whole time I just thought I thought I was just in a depression and being a little bitch. And so it all just piled on at once. And that was the big, and you said, life gives you these things, right? So it seemed awful at the time because 10 weeks of my life went to shit. It was already like my uploads and everything were already scattered because of the family, like development things that I was not doing well with. And then this happened and it seemed like the worst thing ever. But now looking back, I'm healthy, I'm back training, we're back recording, getting everything prepped for like the big push now back to being how I was. And it was because I got that pneumonia that's happened. Otherwise, I could have just kept trundling through at this average pace, just dealing with stuff. But having this big thing land on me made me step back and realize and reassess.
So there's called the dark night of the soul. It's called. It's when you go through such a rough patch, and it's like feel like it's never ending. But that's when you do your most growth in those periods. And then when you come out, you don't go back, you go forward wiser. So you approach life a little bit differently. So everyone goes through it. There's multiple of them. There's multiple dark night of the souls. So look it up. But basically, you have to recognise you're in it. So there's a difference between sitting with it or sitting in it. So when you go through these moments, because I went through it as well last year, because I got injured, I couldn't do a lot of stuff and get ill like yourself.
Yeah.
But it's like an awakening. So you sort of realise you're in it. But when you notice you're in it, then you learn to sit with it. And that sitting with it, the difference is this voice comes in your head. So think of it like if anyone's been through something that's quite challenging in life and you're struggling and you feel like giving up. And then this voice is like, all right, Mitch, come on, man. Let's keep going. Out of nowhere, you hear this voice, this guidance, okay? That's that part where you start to then sit with it. You detach from the actual situation and then start feeding in the positivity of like, right, let's just get through this. So for example, when you said you went for the bike ride, you cleared your head, you've moved away from that sticky environment, you come back and go, right, it is what it is, let's just go back and let's just get it done. Okay?
Yeah.
It's like that is like literally, you're literally detaching from that whole environment. But when you're going through something like that's so low like that, you have to recognise you're in it, and it's called as well pain body. If you look at pain body, it's a depression that the body seeks, not the body, you seek. So when you've been through, let's say when you're younger, you're used to being depressed because it's easy. It's easy to be miserable and negative, okay?
Yeah.
And when you live in that for so long, you're conditioned to be there. So that's how you see the world. But then when you try to move away from that, you feel this pull. This pull is where you unconsciously want to go back there. You want to go back to be miserable. And a lot of people feel this, but it's not allowing that to win. And the pain body is when you allow it to win and you sit in it for so long. And out of nowhere, you wake up and just pull yourself out of it and going, right, I'm moving forward now, I'm done with this. And then you're pulling yourself out of it. We all go through it, but you have to recognise the hardest thing is to recognise you're in it when you're in it. Do you know what I mean?
And a very important thing I'd like to point out as well is it's not a singularity moment where you think I'm done with this either. You'll have that moment and it'll feel like I'm going to be fucking done with this, but it will creep back in and get you a couple more times.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you then recognise it each time and you slowly start pulling yourself out quicker and quicker and quicker. Yeah. So just be understanding it's not like a one-shot hit. You still have to work to fight it, but it's the fact you recognise it. And that's the biggest thing. And if you're going through something like that right now, sit back look at what really fucking matters. Like, get rid of all the ancillary things and look at it. Like, where's your family? Have you got a roof over your head? Are you able to eat? And if they're all kind of leveled out, or at least 2 out of the 3 are stable, you've still got potential to go and do anything. You've just got to keep your head up and see the opportunities, because the amount of opportunities that will pass you by when you've got your head down because you're being miserable is phenomenal. And you will attract positivity if you are positive in yourself, because I swear to fuck, like, energy matters. And it's like, look at all the people around us. How like-minded are we all?
Yeah.
And we didn't meet like on a group chat for, hey, energybuddies.com. You know, this wasn't it. We didn't meet
Labswingers.com.
Yeah, we didn't meet on Grindr. We didn't go out dogging and high-five each other over some fat bird. No, what we did was met each other out and about.
You got the same energy as me, boy. Yeah. You want to go coffee later?
Yeah, but we met each other out in the world. I literally met you for the first time because I pulled my motorbike up outside a pub and you happened to be there. And you came over to me because you felt like you could, because you'd seen me online and you had that similar energy, and that allowed you to come over. Now, if I had been an aggressive dude online or somebody who seemed unapproachable, that would have never happened.
Yeah. That's it. So that's why, like Lex said, when you're in these sticky situations, if you just stop for a second, take yourself somewhere, wherever you like to go, like maybe like by a river or something, and just breathe. And then what I always say to people is, take away the story, take away the physical and what it's showing you. Because then what happens is you create this gap between your problems, okay, and the solution. And the solution is that voice saying, right, like you just said, okay, I'm clearly getting completely absorbed in this task. It's stressing me out and I feel like the world's going to end. But realistically, let me just have a proper conversation with myself, because you got to learn to be your own guide like that. And you sort of have this pep talk going, right, actually, you know what? It's not a big deal. I'm getting lost in it. Clearly, I'm getting attached to it. I've detached now. And actually, let me just enjoy this one moment with the flipping river. You'll notice how everything starts to change. But also, you start to change then. And then what happens is your energy changes. You then become a magnet to people like yourself. And that's why, you know, me and Lex got attracted, because we were both similar. Then that's when you get that, you know, randomly, the world will synchronize you up with that person. That's why you look at the people around you. You're attracting that because you're like a magnet, but you choose what magnet you are, okay? So I could be like a magnet that attracts like dark matter, all right? Because I am dark matter, and if I do that, then I'm going to attract that. But I've got to change. It's like fine-tuning who you are as an individual. You don't change your environment, you change yourself, and your environment changes, okay? Like Lex just said,
huge, yeah,
if Lex was like you said, that aggressive person, that wouldn't align with me. So do you think I would have approached him? No, we were not connected. But it's when you align with people. So when you look at your external world, it's a mirror image of what's going on within. Okay? So if you're seeing everything negative and think, oh yeah, people are saying this to me, blah, blah, it's because you're actually probably not balanced within yourself. And actually, you'll probably need, like Lex needed, just take some time out. Yeah.
And the aggression thing is a big thing, because, I mean, I'm a metro dude. Like, I you know, in terms of, in some ways, like I look after my skin, I care about all that kind of jazz, but that's part and parcel of the health and lifestyle. But I'm also a man's man. You know, I used to fight. You know, I will protect my family with my life. I ride bikes. I like getting greasy and dirty with engines. I love the smell of WD-40. I smoke cigars. You know, I'm a cartoonistic masculine dude at certain points. And it was that side of me that when I was getting stressed was coming out more than the understanding side. So that want of just fucking deal with it with aggression, I'm going to get mad at that. If somebody comes and interrupts me now because they know I'm behind already, I'm going to get mad at them. And they need to know, you know. And that was the exact opposite of what was necessary.
Yeah.
Because all that did was build barriers, more barriers for me to have to like deal with. So in reality, if I'd have just sat down, which eventually I did numerous times, and said, listen, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
And I need help. Like, I need this, and this for me to be able to function, to help you do this, and this. Then you get balance back in your relationships and balance back in your life, because the people around you, you've got to help them to support you. It's not just their job to blindly support you. And sometimes you can think it is because you're the lead of the household, or you're more financially responsible than somebody else. But it doesn't mean that it's your innate right to have them support you. They need to know why and how you need that support, and in turn you need to be able to support them to allow them to give you that support. And that's not what I was doing. I was being very isolated within myself, and I was just like, my problems are bigger than yours, and that is just, that's never going to get you anywhere. It's not.
Is majority of your audience men?
Yeah, I do pretty well. We got like an
Okay.
80-20 split.
So obviously this applies to women as well, but mostly men, because you'll notice it in relationships is, so what men struggle to do is allow themselves to be vulnerable. And what does that mean? Because in their head, they're conditioned to think it's weak, yeah? But vulnerability allows you, like you said, to give yourself permission to say, I'm actually not okay, okay? But when you allow that to yourself and you go, actually, I've been avoiding all my stuff, I'm actually not okay, and you can communicate that to someone, especially your partner, different stuff happens. You know, you actually now see, you start to meet each other's needs, and you start to recognize what's going on within. Because if you mask it all and think, oh, I'm the hard man, I can't be weak because I've got to be strong for everyone else, stop being a victim. Okay, and that is literally like the woe is me, I'm the tough guy.
It's the opposite of being strong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you are victimizing. And being strong is being open.
Yeah.
And being strong is saying, I need help.
The worst when people say, "Oh, I don't like. I'm nice to everyone because I don't want them to feel like how I feel." I'm like, bro, what are you? You're not the main character, okay?
Yeah.
Like, stop trying to be this victim. Literally, take responsibility for your feelings and then have the strength to admit your feelings. That's a strength itself. So, for example, when people are like, if you get upset and say to someone, "I'm actually not feeling great," yeah. You're being so strong there because you're opening up properly in the eye of judgment, okay?
Yeah.
So, for example, if you've got 4 lads here and they're your best mates, and you go, lads, I actually feel really insecure and upset at the moment because this is how I'm feeling, and I've been masking it all with this masculine character. 3 of them say, oh, wow, I really appreciate it. And you watch how they open up, and if one of them starts laughing at you and judging you, it shows you that person's true colours. Because if someone's going to judge you while you're being vulnerable like that, why would you have them in your life? And clearly you can see they're stuck in that character. And this is what we got to try and do. There is a time and place where we have to take action, and, you know, got to crack on and be like, right, cool, the house on fire, action, action, action. But then what we'll do after, you know, let's talk about that. I was quite traumatic when it was. You're like, I didn't actually be vulnerable. Guys, I'm not going to lie. I look like I was confident, but I was fucking shitting myself. How much does that break the ice? I say a great example with exams. You know when you sit in an exam at school,
Yeah.
and you're like, fuck me.
Ever.
In your head, you're like, that was so fucking hard. And you look around, everyone looks like they're cool, calm, and collective. Then one person goes, guys, that was hard. And you're like, yeah, bro.
All of you are like, oh,
You
shit,
see how
what
you
about
open
question
up?
9?
So when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, practice it. Allow yourself to be vulnerable, yeah, and as hard as it is, around your mates or people, and watch how the dynamic changes. Everyone takes their masks off and go, oh, he's been open and honest, so I need to be open and honest. So, but if you don't do that, life will push you into that. So, for example, me and Lex were in the same position. We got battered by life.
Yeah, we
because
did.
trying to be tough men. And then at the point you said, all right, listen, I surrender. I put down the sword. I am absolutely shagged.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to bed. Yeah?
But yeah, you're right. Before we get too far, I want to circle back with the friends thing, because that's huge. Because I know a lot of people think that, you know, being popular and having a lot of people around you is a sign of success or happiness, and it's absolutely not the case. You are better having like 2 or 3 really good friends around you than 30 acquaintances. And like Mitch said, when you have a real problem, it's who stands by you in those times are the people you want around you. And I would literally advise you to cut the other people out, because, you know, when you see people who say, oh, you know, Dave, yeah, he's all right some of the time, isn't he? So that means that the other, not some of the time, he's a prick or a burden or an annoyance. So why are you putting up with a 50-50 person? You don't need it. And if you look at everyone around us, we're all like, we've got powerlifters, strongmen, mechanics, all these doormen, you know, all these guys. But every single time there's a problem that one of them has, we'll go and sit down and we'll have heartfelt conversations. And it's not the fact that you're just being open and soft and all this. No, it's the fact that you give these people, or they give you, relatability. So you'll say, this is happening. And I guarantee some of your group will go, been there, dude.
Yeah.
Been there, dude.
Yeah.
And immediately you're like, fuck, it's not just me. And that's huge, because you realize this is normal. You are not abnormal. You are not failing. You are not broken. This is just something that you have to learn to get through, a mechanism to learn to get through. And it is, like I said, a lesson. So I just want people to understand that because you don't have tons of people around you, even if you've just got one good guy or one girl, whatever, that's enough. And you will build on that, because when you come out of whatever phase it is you're in that you don't feel successful and you start pushing forward, you're going to meet more and more people that you bond with and that are the same mindset, because you got through that troubled time and you trusted the process and you trusted in yourself.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And so all of what the point of this is what I'm trying to say, the conclusive part is, all of the shit that right now seems terrible will inevitably be some of the best things to ever happen to you, because they sent you in a different direction, and a better direction by the end. You come out stronger, better, and more capable.
Yeah, so for example, you know, I've cried in front of Lex for the first time ages ago. And that moment, though, looking back now, was good. Like so much positivity came out of that. Not because, one, I allowed myself to be vulnerable, but we had, you know, I had a bit of support there from someone. But also that moment, like you said, was a really awful moment for me in my life. But, you know, looking back now, 2-3 years on, you know, I'm glad it happened because it taught me so much about myself. But vice versa, Lex was quite vulnerable to me, and opened up to me about what's going on. And, you know, we were meant to film one day, and we actually went for a coffee and talked about it.
For 4 hours.
And holding that space, so was so powerful. But that's true. That's the people you want to be around. There's true people who can hold that space.
Can I just say, though, that 4-hour conversation saved my relationship.
Yeah. Wow. See.
Because it was in time with me I went and stayed with another of my best friends for a couple of days prior to that. And then I came back straight from there to Mitch to film, which we ended up just having to talk instead. So I went from back to back from 2 really good friends, giving me 2 different perspectives on my issues. But there were perspectives that I wasn't seeing because I was in my own world. So by being given those other views from other angles to let me know how the other sides will be feeling in the way that I am and how I can help bring it all together was huge. So like my buddy Mark helped me on the kind of, here's how you're seeing things and how you're saying things. But the reality is, and he was like, I'm on your side, but I'm just telling you from a step back, that other person's going to be feeling this when you do this. And it made me go, oh, so I am creating the argument I hate by coming at it in this angle with this energy. Mm-hmm. So I was fueling the thing I hated. And then when I came to you, you went on the spiritual mindset and the emotional mindset of how I was building triggers or creating, setting off triggers or building triggers. And so then when I came back after that day, like I sent you the message, I came in, started well, then it started to go sideways, and I took the break that you suggested, walked out, came back, and then that night, that day, everything changed. Yeah. Because my other half as well had gone and spoken to people, and she'd had the same kind of epiphany that I had. That was just the universe coming together for us. And so she suddenly saw it from my side, I saw it from her side, and now it has never been better. Yeah. And and the biggest thing we do now is vocalize. Yes. So if she'll be talking and I'll be halfway through, I'll just be like, I can't take this conversation right now. I'm just zoning out all the time. Really sorry. Can we just take half an hour and I'll come back to it? Rather than me not really listen, look like I'm disinterested. Yeah. She gets pissed off, thinks I'm mad with her, and then it creates a whole scenario that doesn't actually exist. The biggest thing there is communication, but also speaking your truth. And you're not here to upset the person. You're here to actually say, listen, actually, I can't take that on right now. I'm not going to be in a position to listen. Yeah. But let me come back on that. And it's that communication, because you're speaking your truth. You're not hiding with a mask on. It's really powerful. But like, this is the whole point is, you know, with this stuff is learning. You have to learn to navigate yourself through your ego, because your ego is a protector. And that means through your whole life, you created this ego, which is your defense mechanism to navigate you through the world. And you have to recognize when you're sitting in it. Never mind about sitting in it or sitting with it. When you learn to sit in it, when you learn to sit with it, you detach from the actual story and go, like Mark did, let's just look at it from a different point of view. Yeah, and that's what you can do with yourself. Yeah, black and white, you know. Yeah. So go on, sorry. No, that's it. Okay. So that's when, like, when people say, oh, I meditate 10 minutes state. No, but what are we doing here? So we're learning actually to detach from everything. Your story, your life, this man-made system, you know, and go, right, let me just look at this like I'm looking at it like through the eyes of an observer. What the hell is going on? But like, what's great, what Mark did, because it's learning compassion. And what is compassion? Compassion is, you know, we're trying to understand and show empathy for this individual here as well. So, for example, this is a great example. Let's say me and Lex had well, here you go. On the way to Uganda, me and Lex had a huge argument, and we were not on the way, at the pinpoint start of the trip in the airport. That would if the people were not good enough friends, would have had a mood for the entire holiday and maybe not talk to each other afterwards. So let me give you an example of what I did, because I've been working with this a lot. Okay, me and Lex, both stressed, both annoyed,
keep bickering with each other. We get to Heathrow Airport. Long story short, we just shouting at each other in each other's faces.
Oh, no, we were good until we got to the airport. It was that stupid car park dude
Yeah.
that set it off because you got really stressed on that,
It's
which
a
was
long
understandable.
story, so I'll just keep it short.
Yeah.
The guy's here with a gun, okay, looking at us, thinking he's have to break this up. Anyway, I said, Lex, I can't listen to you now because I'm stressed as hell. And you went, well, I'm calm now. You need to listen to me. And then we just walked away. We created space. And then we did what we needed. So remember, we took action. We got for the airport. We got onto the plane. After all that, we made up. But I sat after with it because I have a journal. And it's not about journaling helps you. It's what you do in that journal. So I just sat there going, right, you know, what was going on? Clearly, I'm not balanced. I should not be reacting like that. I'm stressed. What was I stressed over? Small things. I'm on the plane now, like you said, with navigation. I'm on the plane. It's all sorted now. I can let go of it. I started laughing to myself, thinking, what was all that about?
I remember you did while you were writing.
Yeah, then you show compassion. You go, right, let's look at Lex's situation, yeah? You know, he's stressed. He's come to my gym. We're a little bit late. You know, I'm literally not in the best mood, so he's got to deal with me. So he's getting stressed. Then we're shouting at each other. So you show compassion because you start to understand their point of view as well. And then it softens their actions because you go, actually, when I'm angry, I start saying mean things. So if Lex is angry, he'll say mean things. So actually, we're both just angry. And if you just let go of that, because the anger is not anger, no, it's pain. We're hurting individuals. That's where it's come from. That's my ego. That's how I react normally. So you can start to understand actually where people's actions come from. But you take away the physical, what's it showing me? Actually,
it's showing you your triggers.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. So then you can catch the trigger and stop the reaction.
Yes.
That's the power.
And that's so when Lex said, oh, you know, you need to create some space. Because let's say you're with your partner, or you're with a friend and you start to bicker. You have to go, it's that notice, oh my God, I'm about to erupt. Okay. Then you go to the person, communication, right, I need to go have a breather. Why? Just let me go. Okay? Breathe. The worst thing is to do when that person wants to have a breather, go follow.
yeah. Do not chase people down.
Because all you're doing is trying to control the ego, bring it back down. You're not coming out. There's no threat here. I'm just feeling like childhood trauma here for no reason. Let me let go of that. Then you come back and go, right, cool. And you see it at a different lens. And then what you did then was the most powerful thing you can do in the world is stop the autopilot of you coming out and you're replaying the same actions over and over again. And once you stop it the first time, which is really, really difficult to do, then the second, the third, the fourth can get easier and easier and easier.
But there will be a second, third, and fourth. There will be.
Yeah.
It's not a one-time like switch your life over.
Yeah, so it's allowing yourself simply just to go pause, breathe, respond. So there's two different ways. You've got react or respond, okay? Most people react, not a lot of people respond.
Yeah.
I react sometimes, and when I do react, that means I'm being impatient, which then means I'm not okay. And what's going on with me, I'm probably burnt out. So when you learn to respond, Lex might say something like, Mitch, you know what, I don't agree with what you said. I could attack, or I'll go, let me just respond. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You see the difference? But if I go, why? Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
we're just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, you know, that's when it's great. This is all stuff we've been learning in the past 2 years, is going in, learning what's going on within, and stop being a victim and blaming the external world. So we've both been on a really good journey the past 2-3 years, really.
And the biggest part of it is we were talking about this in terms of work and relationship and stuff, but it is literally the same mechanism that will apply to everything, including your fitness goals, your health goals, your family life. Like, it's all the same mechanism. It's the breathe, step, calm, honest.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do, and being honest with others and being honest with yourself. And so rather than trying to hide it, because what a lot of the time I was trying to do was, like, I knew that I was working a lot and achieving nothing, really, in reality, but I wasn't admitting that to people. I was leaning on the problems of the family life as being an excuse. I was using that as an excuse. But the reality of the world still spinning and not giving a shit about that meant that it didn't matter how many excuses or how many people around me I made me believe the lie. The reality was still going to be the same outside there, which was no videos going up, nothing coming in. You know, like, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
No amount of me telling fallacies to people and getting them to believe it is going to change the outcome.
Yeah.
All it's going to do is appease my mind, making people think, oh, they don't think I'm a loser now. You know? But
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, because your end result it's still going to be the same bullshit that pisses you off. So that's the biggest thing that I learned is, just be honest with people and just sit there and go, listen, I fucked up today. I did nothing. I sat back. I just had a mind blank, and I actually achieved fuck all over 10 hours.
So what you're doing there, you're taking responsibility. What people don't do is take responsibility. What they do is they validate why their situation is like this, and that's the worst thing you can do is validate your situation and say it's okay. Not in the way of saying it's okay to be upset, more the fact like, I get angry like this because of something external of myself does this to me, and that's how I am, so don't do that. Because these are the people who annoy everyone because they want everyone to respond to how they want them to because of how they are. And I say, you get it with people who are in the LGBTQ, nothing against them, but it's not the LGBTQ community, it's the people in it that have no self-awareness, and they expect everyone to bend over because of their new X, Y, and Z. You get it everywhere, and then we have these exemption cards, which is annoying because all we're doing now is feeding people's insecurities, which is poison. But actually, how about we go, right, I know you get a bit anxious when you do that, okay, which is fine, all right? You know how we navigate that is we might say, okay, you're showing traits of ADHD, X, Y, and Z, but doesn't mean that's you.
That doesn't encompass you and limit you.
Yeah, we're gonna but to make it easy, we put you over here a little bit so we can understand you a bit better. So what you do, you learn to navigate through it. So for example, if someone says, because they did it with me, you've got GAD. What's that? Generalized anxiety disorder. That's it. I thought that was me. Okay. So then I can go around saying, guys, listen, I've got anxiety. This is me. I don't do that because my anxiety. Okay.
Oh, yeah, because you're dealing with nothing.
Yeah. You're becoming a victim to this thing, and this is me, and I'm not going to change my way of the highway.
Label of excuses.
Everyone externally needs to behave a certain way because this is my anxiety. Here's my card. Okay. When you do that, okay, you now become attached to this label, and now you become it. Or you can choose to go, you know what? I'm going to navigate through this. I get it. I show traits of that, but I'm going to get through this because I see light at the end of the tunnel. And how do I do that? You have to explore yourself. So, for example, I used to be really, really scared of public speaking. Okay. So when I would go to talk, I'd be like, I can feel it. I have two options. I can go run away, or you know what? I'm going to sit with it, not sit in it, and do the talk, and then allow it all to feel it, but it's going to go, and it will disappear. And then you'll notice, you go, oh my God, I actually did the opposite of what I really wanted to do, and that was to run away. And I actually noticed the outcome was different, and I didn't die. Okay.
Yeah, and not only have you achieved being able to speak in front of people, you are fucking brilliant at it. Like, I genuinely think you could do it as part of your job, is talks and sit down. Like, I want to set up with you doing like meets where people come and we talk and we have Q&As and we do this mental health thing plus training stuff, because not only do you take a subject matter and you're able to speak to it, the way you articulate it and break it down into a point of understanding is a skill set that you now have, that if you would have not conquered that silly little first step of fear, you would never know what's in you. Yeah. And you've, like I said, you literally helped save me. Imagine if you, and the reason you do that is because you've overcome that fear of speaking to people as a group. So a singularity for you now is nothing. Like, you're so confident in being able to speak to people. And part and parcel of that is also you're willing to jump on camera to go on YouTube and expose yourself.
Yeah, there you go. This is the first time I came on this. I was so nervous. I actually got my hair cut and bought a new T-shirt for your first YouTube
and look
video.
at this episode. Essentially, you've led a lot of this episode.
Oh yeah, true. But the only way I've got here is, one, I had to look in the mirror and take responsibility for my stuff and heal to allow me to give it back. But by giving it back naturally in my presence alone. Do you get what I mean? So it's like with everything in life, in the gym, you learn so much, you get so good at it, it becomes second nature. It's just a way of your being. And people are like, you're really inspirational, What do you mean? Just the way you're doing it. You're like, oh yeah, it's just in my nature now. But it's your way of being. Because the great quote is, your presence alone is medicine. Which means, you don't have to...
You're turning up.
Yeah, and then, but for other people. So, for example, there's people who preach this stuff and throw it down people's throats. You'll see it online. Let me tell you about Jesus Christ. You need to listen to follow Jesus. Okay, do you think they're gonna listen?
Well,
but if you demonstrate by being that message alone, by just being that person who is that person and following your best you can to what you believe your truth is, watch what happens. Watch what you bring in. Okay.
And flip that into a relationship. Same thing. If you show the people that you are worthy of being supported and that you're worthy of doing these things, because there's a good outcome at the end of helping support that person. Just like you said, then just be the action. It works the same way. You end up with a nice, happy, balanced relationship with people willing and wanting to support, and it all comes around again to everything kind of tying up because, there's a bit that you said there that I really just resonated and I wanted to get across to people. Oh, that was it. When you've gone in the gym for the first time, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. A couple of years down the line, now you're confident. You go in there, you know what to train, how to train it, how to feel it, but you know you've not learned everything. So you're still trying, you're still learning, you're still trying new stuff. That can cross over into your daily life because you realize, remember that first time you went in the gym and everything was new and everything seemed overwhelming. You didn't know what to do. 2 years later, you're in there splitting body parts, maybe writing plans for other people and mates to help them or your family members. And all it took was you to step through that door of the gym and give it a fucking go and not quit after week 2.
Yes.
And the same thing will happen with everything else that you do. So if you're good in the gym and you suck elsewhere, look at your gym. You're successful at that. Why can't you be successful elsewhere? Yeah. You've got it in you. You just have to change the mechanism to adapt it to whatever the other problem is.
Yeah. The same method applies to everything. So when you went in the gym, what did you feel? When I first went to the gym, I thought I was going to die, get killed. I was insecure. I went to a big warehouse gym.
Yeah, dude.
I had no belief in me. I felt so insecure, okay? Doing that for 6 months, you walk in, you're confident, you know what you're doing, you have that belief in yourself, and it's that belief you have. But the only way I was going to get the belief is I had to lean into the fear. So you need to go and do things that make you feel really uncomfortable because it's in your head. Okay? So, like, you know, how are you supposed to grow if there's no exposure? All right? And this is a great analogy. If you're at a job and you're getting frustrated with it and it's doing your head in and you know you've sort of learned everything you need to do, if you need to grow, you want to grow, you need to get a bigger pot. Okay, for the plant to grow bigger, all right? So that might mean you need to move on or go do something different, okay? Because there's nothing else to do here now. You've outgrown everything. And then that becomes comfortable. And are you chasing comfort now or actually are you ready to grow? And, you know, whenever there's fear and there's disease and you feel scared, that's good. You're about to grow, all right? But then you have to understand when to retreat as well because you can be in it for too long. And being exposed to that stimulus too much at times can allow you to be, you know, burnt out.
Using the root analogy, imagine if you're the plant that's just content in being in that pot, your root system stays the same size. But if you start expanding, so you're not leaving the pot, you're not leaving your job, you're not quitting that thing off the bat because you need the fear. No, that's not how you do it. But you start expanding your root system. You start exploring other areas where your roots weren't reaching before. Now you find some new nutrients. Now you find some new opportunities outside of your workplace. And then eventually that root system starts spreading left, right, up, down, north, south, east, west, and you start getting more opportunities because you're putting yourself into more places, into more things. So now the root system starts to burst out of that pot, and now you've got no choice but to get into a bigger pot or to be able to move on because now you've got something else going on the side that is now covering the work that you hated, and you can literally switch it over. And that's all that matters. It doesn't mean you don't need great success out of the door. You just need enough to be able to replace the thing you hate, and then you keep chasing that other thing. I think that's a good way, place to end that one.
It's like where people get stuck is the fear or belief. So, for example, if that plant was like, I'll only get a bigger pot until my roots are bigger. Yeah. It will never happen.
Never happen.
But if you go, but what people could go is, yeah, but if I get in that pot, I haven't got enough roots to sustain. No. If you build the pot, okay, the roots shall come. Okay, it's like saying build it and they shall come.
Yeah.
And that's where belief comes in because you got to have belief. And then what is a faith? So what is that? It's persistence. Because if you didn't have belief or faith, why would you be persistent? You got to learn to believe in yourself. But you only do this by stepping inside the darkness to see your own light. And your own light is what guides you through the darkness. And then eventually you have this confidence within you to keep going forward and forward and forward. But that's what you build up resilience. So then you keep doing this, and then you become so resilient, so powerful, you know what you're doing, following your truth. You become an inspiration because people are like, this guy or this lady is just doing it out there. Don't get me wrong, he will feel those emotions still, but it doesn't let it control.
And in that process, you'll inevitably start to be surrounded by more like-minded people, more like-minded individuals who will support you in the process. Yeah. And that's what you need. And that is, I think, a great place to stop that there. And a pretty serious one to come back in with there. But hey, you need to know what's going on. And I'd just also like to point out that in the midst of all of this stuff going on and everything, there was at least a good ratio of 9 emotional talks to at least 4 or 5 good solid gay jokes. Just to keep that balance. Don't get me wrong, you know, you need your boys to give you some shit as well along the way. You need to be, you know, kept nice and grounded and realize that shit isn't all that serious. Just remember, nothing really matters. You know, just use that as the step back. Remember, it doesn't really fucking matter. Step back, breathe,
have fun. Because let me tell you a quick story.
No.
Okay.
We'll do that next time. We've got to end it. This is already a 2-part episode.
Okay.
So if you do want to sit here and talk about anything else, specific subjects, problems you're having, hit us up in the comment section. Hit us up on Instagram. Mitchell's Instagram is... It'll be on the
Mitchell
screen
Ram.
already. Yeah. But it's
Just
not.
Mitchell
It's
Ram.
SMT.
Oh, sorry, Mitchell Ram SMT.
It's a good job that
I'm also doing YouTube now, so
Yes.
similar to this stuff.
Yeah.
My YouTube would be my. It's more. I'm trying to put out more information rather than when people are making reels. It's like
No, yours are good. You're breaking down movements, how to do things, injury rehab and
well,
stuff.
it's
It's
just,
well
you,
worth
you
it.
just it's a bit more. Of a, mine is quite raw.
Yes,
Just me.
but you'll learn.
But with this podcast as well, I quite enjoy talking about the mental health side of everything. If you want more of that, drop a comment.
Yeah.
Or give us like something like a situation, and then we'll talk about it.
100%. So thank you all for tuning back in. Sorry for the absence, and we'll make sure it doesn't happen again because we're back enjoying what we do, and that is the most important thing. So we'll catch you in the next one, and enjoy the vlog that is either preceded or is alongside this one about what's going on in my world, because I'm bringing you all back in as I promised like a couple of months ago before I got really sick. No more sickness. Sun is shining. Weather's sweet. Get out. Make your own energy and have some fucking adventures.
Boom.
Boom.